On February 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2023, the provincial leaderships from the Cristo Rey province, the Holy Cross province, St. Paul the Cross province, and the Superior General of the Las Hijas de la Pasión de Jesucristo met together in New York for our intercouncil meeting, the first time meeting in person in almost 3 years. And we spoke about, throughout our time together, the international crisis of migration. And we talked about a crisis that's affecting all parts of our provinces, from Canada to the United States, to Mexico, to the Dominican Republic, to Puerto Rico, to all these places that are experiencing the arrivals of sisters and brothers who are fleeing violence and poverty and war, and all forms of instability and oppression, seeking to find life. And so as you'll hear in the reflections that follow, reflections of our leaders that had gathered, the meetings were impactful. They impacted each one of us and really urged us to collectively find a way to align ourselves in solidarity with our sisters and brothers.
¿Qué es lo que ha podido aprender de esa experiencia y qué es lo que ha logrado y cómo ha sido? How has this experience been for you and what have you been able to learn and achieve this week?
Bueno, me siento muy agradecida con los padres, con la acogida que nos han dado. Yo lo miro todo como la expresión de Dios. Y también estoy muy agradecida por el interés que tienen sobre la migración y sobre todo la migración desde América Latina. Es una experiencia de unión, de amor, para poder, pues entre todos, unir nuestras fuerzas para ayudar a los migrantes. Nuestra presencia en Agua Prieta se ve reforzada por esta unión y nosotros queremos trabajar con los padres para ayudar a nuestros hermanos migrantes.
It was a very good experience. I think what I learned was how, as an international community, we had priests and then also the women religious, the sisters, all along the route where the immigrants are coming from, in South America, through Venezuela, through Central America and Mexico, seeing the roots and where some of our places are. And then the desire to be able to work together as an international group. That would include some young people who work with us, some young people we hope will work with us more, and some lay people. So as a community working together with a lot of diversity, able to become more interested and hopefully more helpful to the immigrants today.
Estoy agradecido con Dios por la oportunidad de encontrarme con cada uno de los hermanos, de darnos cuenta que a pesar de nuestros distintos idiomas, nuestras culturas, el espíritu como pasionistas nos interpela en esas realidades sufrientes de nuestros pueblos, de toda esta situación y realidad que hemos visto con nuestros hermanos migrantes y de cómo en esa sensibilidad podemos irlos acompañando para pues curar sus heridas, asistirlos en cada una de sus necesidades, ayudar para mitigar su hambre y cómo ayudarlos a que en esta travesía que van haciendo, pues ellos puedan sentir también nuestra cercanía. Realmente emocionado, motivado para todo lo que pueda venir hacia adelante, la manera como esto puede ir estrechando los lazos de colaboración y de fraternidad como hermanos. Creo que es una experiencia rica, fuerte para mí y que de mucho compromiso, sobre todo para seguir adelante.
I think that after the pandemic and after 3 years, I think that it was kind of great to come together in person, again with the other two provinces, and so that was already a highlight. I would say that what really touched me and the moment that I really learned a lot was during the panel when we had the real story of two men, young men, who crossed the border and what their suffering was, and real suffering that was really painful even to hear in a certain way. It really pierced my heart, but also to know by the other two, Mario Russell and Andrea Bartoli, to know the obstacles, but also the creative things that we can do. to help them. So many times, as our provincial said, we all know why not to do things, but probably I think that during this meeting, I think it was really successful and helped me a lot. It helped us make a commitment because there is a big reason why we should do it. These are real people who are suffering, and actually it's the life, real life. And if we follow the flow of life, for sure we're going to have a future too.
Bien, ante todo debo decir que poco más de 20 años he estado participando en estos encuentros de Intercouncil. Esta vez vengo en calidad de presidente de la configuración de Jesús Crucificado. Conocía ya este lugar en otras ocasiones y la primera impresión ha sido el trabajo extraordinario que está realizando aquí en esta comunidad con el nuevo enfoque, dinamismo que ha tenido, que tiene esta casa. Como experiencia, una experiencia increíble por el compartir con tantos hermanos anhelos comunes, y hemos fortalecido nuestra amistad, hemos fortalecido también esos lazos de una relación profunda, y algo importante ha sido que hemos llegado a acciones muy concretas y compromisos que seguramente nos van a abrir nuevos horizontes en el ámbito, en el campo de la migración, que es un ambiente bastante desafiador, desafiante en ese tiempo que me está tocando vivir. Ha sido realmente una experiencia extraordinaria y gracias por todo.
As we conclude this inter-council meeting, here we are in the second week of February, I am just quite moved and delighted at where we've come in a few days to hear everyone talk about the concerns that they've had as a community trying to grapple with the whole huge movement of people around the world and all of the challenges that presents. But then in a particular way, how does the Passionist community respond to the suffering of these people? Because there's tremendous suffering that they go through as they're on the move. So we were able to listen deeply to each other and appreciate the gifts and the strengths that we can bring to this, but also what the realistic challenges are going to be. And I think that coming at this from a sense of wanting to learn more, being ready to be open and moved by the stories of people and their real concerns and needs, we're moved to respond. And that's what I heard happen. The communities from the eastern and western provinces in Mexico and the sisters, all of our collaborators, we came together and we have a plan that we're going forward with that's exciting, that is energizing, that everybody is committed to, each in their own way, all in different places, but nonetheless, we're walking and moving together. And it's a very exciting place to be. So I have great hope for the future, for the church, for the world, and for what the Passionist community and all of our partners and family members can bring to this important work.
I don't know, I think what I experienced here is the depth of the charism, and when we sink, when we touch base with that, anything's possible. I think one of my most profound experiences here was I found myself sitting at a table with all the Hispanics, the Spanish speaking. So I didn't understand anything that they were saying. Alfredo was at my table and he was able to translate, which was wonderful and amazing. But the listening, I listened and I was more in tune with body language and facial expression and that movement. And so I felt like I was connected at some level. I also, I think, probably learned how amazingly difficult it must be to be a translator, to be able to grasp not only the words that are said, but the inflections and the message, what's coming through from underneath those words, and to be able to share that with another who's not catching that, and to be true to what's being shared. Both ways. Alfredo had to translate what I shared as well for those there. But I think part of what I got from that is a deep a deep connection, bond connection that comes out of, I'm going to say it comes out of charism, that we're all working toward the same thing. And I learned profoundly from being at that table at multiple levels. And then to come to a meeting open to the Spirit, and where is it going to take us, to be leaving here with a vision, a common vision, and being okay with not having a blueprint for how it's going to turn out, where we're going to end up with this. But we know we're going to end up connected, and we know we're going to somehow be able to respond. But being okay in the uncertainty is kind of life-giving, I think, energizing.
Bueno, la experiencia siempre es gratificante porque el hecho de reunirnos como que el espíritu se mueve más rápido entre nosotros mismos y surgen las ideas, ¿verdad? Cuando juntamos las manos, pues surge también la fuerza, el poder. Y yo creo que hemos logrado mucho porque hemos logrado unir la mentalidad de las 3 provincias, o incluyendo las hermanas 4, y juntarnos en una necesidad tan grande como la necesidad de los migrantes, no solamente aquí en Estados Unidos, pero también en Puerto Rico, que recibimos dominicanos, recibimos haitianos. Entonces para mí ha sido una gran experiencia, realmente me siento alegre y contento de poder colaborar, de poder sentirme parte de un proyecto como este, sobre todo cuando hay gente que muere en el camino, hay gente que sufre hambre en el camino, hay niños que quedan abandonados a veces por esta realidad de la migración. Entonces, bueno, le doy gracias a Dios nuevamente por esta oportunidad de encontrarnos y sobre todo por los logros, por lo que en pocos días hemos logrado, diría yo, en unir nuestras fuerzas y unir nuestros corazones también y asegurarnos también de que llevamos el fuego de querer compartir esto con nuestras comunidades para que sean también parte de este gran proyecto.
What I have learned this weekend is, again, about the situation of migrants. Having the testimonies of the 2 guys was very helpful, very educational. What we have achieved, I think more than anything else, is a commitment to work together among the 3 provinces and among the sisters, something never happened before. What do I take away? Excitement about being able to work together, and excitement about being able to be involved in helping migrants. They're undergoing their passion, obviously, and so it fits in with our charism very well.
What I've learned is the Passionist family is broad. Meeting Mexico, St. Paul, the Cross Province, Holy Cross Province, I think it was very dynamic for me. First time I've ever attended one of these inter-province meetings. Just the energy in the room, not knowing what we were going to walk in on and do, but the Holy Spirit arrived. And it was very, very a great time together to, talk about a great subject, talk about migration, where we're at going forward, basically coming from a 35,000 foot level from a theoretical standpoint to come down to actual action items at the end of the day that are going to be attainable and reasonable going forward. I think for me too, the presentation of the panel was very powerful for me to understand the journey that many of them have taken to get here, which is not easy. It opened my eyes to, the struggles that are, not only outside of the borders of the United States, but within the borders of the United States. So takeaway at the end of the day, I think is we're one as a Passionist family. We continue to use that phrase a lot more here. That's something from Holy Cross Province has used, but I think it's true throughout the entire Passionist congregation. I'm going to take forward some new friendships, some work that we all need to do, But it was just an enriching experience and just very, very spiritual for me, and just makes me think differently out there. And I look forward to whatever's going to happen between now and our next steps.
Muy bien, muchas gracias por esta oportunidad que se me brinda. Para mí es una alegría poder compartir con ustedes, y de los intercóncil que he participado, unos 8 o 10, este ha sido el más importante. ¿Por qué? Porque se ha tocado un tema de fondo que es la migración, y hoy día se necesita mucho apoyarle, tanto a los que llegan de Haití, de México, de República Dominicana, de Nicaragua, Venezuela, pues una población bastante amplia que salen de su país acariciando un sueño, y qué bueno hacérselo cumplir, ¿verdad? Y además de eso también, para mí la experiencia en este intercóncil ha sido muy interesante, porque se ha tocado un tema que se le va a dar continuidad. Muchas veces tocábamos ciertos temas y se quedaba como en el aire, cada provincia iba y hacía lo que podía. Este intercóncil ha marcado de que hay que dar informe de lo que se va a hacer, de tal manera que se ve que importa la emigración haitiana, dominicana, venezolana, nicaragüense, la que fuere, pero que llegue aquí con tranquilidad. Para mí es una alegría poder que esto se logre y que podamos darle continuidad paso a paso hasta que podamos decir tenemos conformada una verdadera red con apoyo en todos los sentidos. Así que muchas gracias, ojalá que podamos seguir dándole énfasis a este tema y que se pueda de cara al año que viene ya decir que tenemos un punto de apoyo para partir. Muchas gracias.
It was great to have the council meeting here. I love St. Thomas Mary Place. It's a great place. They reconnect people. They're just very welcoming, and they're just very good to have here. And I really believe in the North American Passionist, which really includes the sisters. The Cristo Rey province, the Apollo Cross province, Holy Cross province. And it's more of not just the vowed members in those organizations, but also the lay people that participate in different ways. So it's been a very rich experience to have everybody here for these couple of days. But I really liked what we've taken on in terms of dealing with immigration. The issues are there. I think it's something that's workable in all areas as we cooperate in different areas. We might take individual opportunities given our different provinces, but I think it's an effort that I think would be great to have, to do something and respond to that. We are our own province, Holy Cross province has, set up a committee now to kind of look at how do we want to process this, because we have the provincial chapter in the second week of June. So we're looking to set up a committee to process the way, but how we're going to present this to the chapter so we can implement it at the time of the chapter. So there is some work to be done as we come before that. And we're also looking for some new people on that committee, there have been new voices in the province, in the Passionist family of Holy Cross province. So we'll see where that goes, but I'm very excited about that. I think it's got great possibility. I think it's possible. We'll probably take some baby steps, but I think, that's how we all learn to walk. Mm-hmm. And as we walk with the Lord, God will always provide for us. And so I'm very happy where we're at right now. We're very grateful. Thank you.
Well, to come to these meetings, it's always interesting how things develop, and I really enjoyed what we did today. I think it was really having our hands on the sign of the times and working at something that I think we can make a difference as a group of Passionists. So I learned, first of all, that, when we work together and we have a passion for what we're doing, that we can accomplish great things by doing little things at a time. And I think even though some of them might seem like they're small steps, together it's going to be big steps. So I take away also a broader vision of what immigrants are coming through, especially in this mass migration that we're facing. The challenges they have not only in their country in coming over, but the challenges that they have here as they try to enculturate into the United States
and go through all of the hurdles of the rules and laws that we have. So I'm very grateful for having been here and participated with the group.
I'm sure you were able to hear in those reflections the energy that came from this meeting and the collective sense of being touched by a human crisis and the firm desire and resolve to do something, to do as Passionists, as vowed members, as lay members, as associates, as young and old, to respond together. And so at the conclusion of our 3-day meeting, we unanimously affirmed 3 resolutions. And the first resolution states that we agree in principle to increase our Passionist presence at one or more places where human migration is occurring, responding to the issues surrounding those migrants who need welcome supports in various places across our provinces, and to prepare ourselves in the immediate future to bring forward and to make a more specific commitment. Secondly, we agree to following through on our individual commitments made February the 7th, 2023, by March 30th, 2023, and to report back to this assembled community through the Passionist Solidarity Network Director. And finally, we agree to follow through on our local community commitments to learn more about the implications of this increased presence, to establish the relationships and resources to begin to fulfill this commitment, and to reconnect with each other by electronic means within an appropriate time frame, but no more than 4 to 6 months, to review our progress in moving toward this decision. And so, brothers and sisters, our work commences, and the concrete work of finding a way to stand in solidarity, to walk in solidarity with our migrants begins. I ask you to pray for the efforts. I ask you to participate in the efforts. And I ask all of us to look with hope towards a greater unity among the crucified of today and the Passionist community.